We are live with the
Yay!
old new crew.
There you go. uh, I love our pack. I mean, they're awesome without a doubt. Uh,
Absolutely.
Before I forget, I am old new dude. He is
Richard York, Asher's two-born son.
so off the subject. Just before I forget, Chris the Crow, my son, has talked me into at the beginning of the year at tax time acquiring uh, the Kingsguard armor for the
Okay.
next con. Yeah. Uh, he showed me pictures of it, and it's not perfect, but for the price, it looks pretty freaking good. So, um, depending on how much gray hair comes out between now and the next 2 years, I'll either be a younger Barristan Selmy or one of them other guys. So, all right, we are Clash of Kings, John 4. And if you've seen any of these videos, and the four people that are here, you have. Uh, I We start with the brains of the operation, which is Richard. He will say what he saw in the chapter, and then I'll jump in with my stupid stuff. So take it away, Richard. Yes, King Guard.
thank, thank you, sir. Ghost finds buried treasure. Clash 34, John 4. The hill jutted above the dense tangle of forest, rising solitary and sudden, its windswept heights visible from miles off. The wildlings called it the Fist of the First Men, rangers said. It did look like a fist, Jon Snow thought, punching up through earth and wood, its bare brown slopes knuckled with stone. He rode to the top with Lord Mormont and the officers, leaving Ghost below under the trees. The direwolf had run off 3 times as they climbed, twice returning reluctantly to Jon's whistle. The third time the Lord Commander lost patience and snapped, "Let him go, boy. I want to reach the crest before dusk. Find the wolf later." So you think Ghost is trying to find Cold Hands? I mean, that's my best guess is that he's wanting to, he smelt that Cold Hands is I mean, we're later told that this was recently buried, and then Jon strangely decides, I wonder if this is some ancient cache. And it's like, anyway,
Well,
but I don't know. It's just a guess that maybe Cold Hands is nearby. Um, on the other hand, Cold Hands definitely has his cloak,
yeah,
and so it could be Benjen's cloak, whether or not it's Cold Hands that does the digging,
yeah,
because that's the only thing that would really mean anything to us. I don't know. Anyway, all speculation.
yeah. One quick thing, of course, before I forget. During book club, um, and I do not remember the chapter, but I want to say it was either Corn Halfan or Mance Raider had mentioned another fortress like the Fist of the First Men further north. Um, it's something to watch out for as we continue with the book. Um, yeah, we'll notice that without a doubt when we get to it, but just to put a
It
feather
would
in the
have
cap.
it would have to be Corrin, wouldn't it? Because I don't think we've actually seen Mance Raider yet. Book club's still just at the end of Clash of Kings,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So
so
it would be
it
corn.
has to be Corrin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
just something to keep out for.
And yes, I did respond on the Discord to the spear leader. Um, and that's the same thing that Toodles had said. So it makes me wonder, given that he is kind of a skinny guy, it makes me wonder if the White Bull, if he's really the White Bull, then maybe the White Bull is like a nickname that's kind of like giant, like maybe he'll not feel like a bull.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, George does that quite a bit.
Yes, yes, yes. And so
With
that actually would
young,
make sense.
like with young Lord Dustin, and old
Right,
Lord
right,
Dustin.
and Tormund. I mean, the Order of the Green Hand, which I'm wearing the Order of the Green Hand shirt for John. This is John chapter, but um, that they argue that essentially they argue that Tormund is Minotaur with the syllables backwards, right? And it's instead of saying bull man, it's man and bull.
Yeah,
But yeah, if in fact they're looking at the wrong direction, if in fact it's an ironic name, you should be looking for the skinny guy whose name's Spear.
yeah,
Anyway,
yeah.
um, all right. An old place and strong, Thorn Smallwood said. Old, Mormont's raven screamed as it flapped in noisy circles around their heads. Old, old, old. Quiet, Mormont growled up at the bird. So I suppose this is emphasizing the age of Lord Commander Mormont, or maybe the age of the fist, or maybe both. I'm not sure why George felt the need to have the raven.
Here's the thing, though. Usually, when the crow, Mormont's crow, is talking when John's around, which I mean that's the only time we hear it. A lot of times, it's referring to John.
Okay.
I mean, the speculation is he is the oldest son of Eddard Stark.
Okay. Okay. What about water, my lord? John wondered. We crossed a brook at the foot of the hill. A long climb for a drink, John pointed out, and outside the ring of stones. Thorne said, Are you too lazy to climb a hill, boy? When Lord Mormont said, We're not like to find another place as strong. We'll carry water and make certain we are well supplied. John knew better than to argue. Having the wisdom to choose your battles is something we should all strive for.
Yeah.
Once he'd put up the Lord Commander's tent and seen to their horses, Jon Snow descended the hill in search of Ghost. The direwolf came at once, all in silence. One moment Jon was striding beneath the trees, whistling and shouting, alone in the green, pine cones and fallen leaves under his feet. The next, the great white direwolf was walking beside him, pale as morning mist. But when they reached the ring fort, Ghost balked again. He padded forward warily to sniff at the gap in the stones, and then retreated. He did not like what he'd smelled. So I'm not sure what's happening here. This is more than just. It seems like it's more than just Ghost wanting to chase cold hands. It seems like almost as if there's some sort of wards on the
stones.
The ring fort. Yeah.
Well, I mean, this reminds me of Summer trying to stop Bran from climbing.
Yeah.
Because Summer knew he was going to fall. Whoever's talking to Summer, or just the powers of the wolves, they know something bad's going to happen, so they try to stop. So I'm assuming that Ghost is trying to stop, or at least warn that this is not the place to be. Something bad's going to happen.
Yep. But it doesn't really happen to Ghost or Jon, right? So I don't know. It's a little weird.
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, this is true, but I mean,
I don't know. Kind of strange.
Yeah.
They ought to be safe here. The hill offered commanding views, and the slopes were precipitous to the north and west, and only slightly more gentle to the east. Yet as the dusk deepened and darkness seeped into the hollows between the trees, Jon's sense of foreboding grew. This is the haunted forest, he told himself. Maybe there are ghosts here, the spirits of the first men. This was their place once. Hi, guys.
Hey, Charles. Charles. Hey, I don't know if Charles did it or not, but I'm up to 80 subscribers. Ooh, my head's getting so big.
Woo.
Yeah, I know.
On the horizon stood the mountains like a great shadow, range on range of them receding into the blue-gray distance, their jagged peaks sheathed eternally in snow. Even from afar, they looked vast and cold and inhospitable. Closer at hand, it was the trees that ruled. Foreboding and inhospitable. Clearly, nothing bad will happen.
No.
The God King Bran will rule, or maybe his bride Ashera, in terms of the trees that ruled. See Triplet Figures episode 1. The forest seemed a deep green sea, storm-tossed and heaving, eternal and unknowable. I'm not always sold on this whole green sea metaphor, but here it definitely holds.
Yeah.
Ghost was not like to be alone down there, he thought. Anything could be moving under that sea, creeping toward the ring fort through the dark of the wood, concealed beneath those trees. Anything. How would they ever know? So this definitely does foreshadow the army of the dead attacking here, so maybe that's the only reason that Ghost is doing this.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the army of the undead and the Green Sea are connected somehow.
Right. Yeah, I mean, it's this part's really making that metaphor obvious, even if I'm not always. My point of saying I'm not totally sold is that LML will often say, well, you can totally understand Patchface if you just look this way, and I don't like that analysis nearly as much as the other one that I tweeted out a few times.
Yeah.
You best get a bird ready. Mormont will want to send back word. I wish I could send them all. They hate being caged. You would too if you could fly. If I could fly, I'd be back at Castle Black eating a pork pie, said Sam. I guess Gilly sort of gives Sam his metaphorical wings because he's enjoying flying back to Castle Black with her.
Yeah, well, it's funny that Charles.
Well, I don't know. Maybe he's not enjoying it. He's actually terrified most of that time.
Yeah. Well,
eventually, he's enjoying his time with her.
Yeah, well, it's funny that Charles just came in because this little. I wish I could send them all. They hate being caged. You would too, if you could fly. His theory is that the former lord of Highgarden that rode off a cliff while he was hawking was the ward and was warged inside his hawk and was looking through the hawk's eyes and not paying attention where he was going. That there's skin changing blood in-house Tyrell, and I agree with him. I thought it was a really good, a little good theory. What'd you say?
I almost fell off my ladder. Someone has to post those for me today. She can't be counting my references.
Not a problem. I keep putting fingers up, Lizzie. Please don't fall.
The long red tail of Mormont's torch burned as bright as the moon. Jon heard the ravens before he saw them. Some were calling his name. The birds were not shy when it came to making noise. They feel it too. I'd best see to the old bear, he said. He gets noisy when he isn't fed as well. Like Raven, like Lord Commander. He gets noisy when he isn't fed as well.
Well, there is definitely a connection between that his Raven and the Lord Commander.
Yeah. Maybe all this talk of how it's Bran or Blood Raven, maybe it's wrong. Maybe it's just that he's skin changing the Raven and making it say things in his subconscious or something.
Well, I mean, there are theories that Blood Raven or future Bran, whoever it is using Ghost as a conduit to affect Jon, and they're also using Mormont's Raven to affect Mormont. Especially with decisions on what to do with Jon, making him the steward, all that kind of stuff, going north of the wall. There are decisions that they think that I'll say Blood Raven for instead of going through the whole damn spiel again, is using the animals as their avenue to affect the person, Jon or Lord Commander.
Yeah, and as I've said, I actually don't think Blood Ravens do much of anything, but it's also interesting he's comparing the comet to the moon when there's no moon out, and yet he's calling it as bright as the moon. So I don't know. There's something that seems kind of weird about that to me, but
yeah. Oh, did you hear about that? We was talking about comets. Did you see about the asteroid that is a planet killer that will in 2025 or 2029 will come between the moon and the Earth and actually skip Earth's atmosphere? I saw it on YouTube the other day. It scared the shit out of me. But go ahead.
Yeah, that's interesting. All right, where were we?
The old bear was particular.
The old bear was particular about his hot spiced wine. So much cinnamon and so much nutmeg and so much honey, not a drop more. Raisins and nuts and dried berries, but no lemon. That was the rankest sort of southern heresy, which was queer since he always took lemon in his morning beer. So there's probably some sort of symbolic significance here, but I don't see what.
Yeah.
The easiest road up into the Frostbags is to follow the Milkwater back to its source. Yet if we go that path, Raider will know of our approach, certain as sunrise. The giant stair might serve, said Sir Mallador Locke, or the Skirling Pass if it's clear. The Skirling Pass, you say? Interesting. His Raven hopped down his arm. Corn, it said. Corn. Oh, by the way, before we get too far, notice that he did say that Jon said the Ravens call his name. Some call his name. So Sam's already been teaching him to say snow. Way back here, right? I don't know if this is the first time we've heard that or not. But,
I thought we heard it
may have already known
while they were at Castle Black.
Yeah, could be. Yeah, he may have even said he was teaching them. Oh, in fact, I think he did. I think he told
Yeah.
John that, and John was like, "Yeah, great. That's just what I do."
Yeah.
Um, his raven hopped down on corn and said, "Corn, corn." So I don't know if that's terribly significant, except it does remind us of a certain three-eyed crow discussing whether or not he's really a crow.
Yeah.
Which again is something that you always hear people dismiss the blood raven's confusion because they say that the crow doesn't know it's a crow, but it specifically talks about being a crow with Bran and whether or not he has physical wings the way it does and all this stuff. And it's like, so
Oh yeah.
that logic doesn't really hold water. But anyway,
No, that people will twist anything to try to make what they think.
yeah, and Bran clearly knows that he has three eyes in his vision with Jon when he wakes Jon.
Yeah.
Right, when he opens Jon's third eye, he knows that that Jon sees him as someone with three eyes, right?
Yeah.
Which could again be a hint that Bran is the three-eyed crow, right? The fact that Bran knows he has three eyes in visions. Anyway.
Yeah.
Wildlands can no more live on snow and stone than we can. They will emerge from the heights soon, and for a host of any size, the only route is along the Milkwater. If so, we are strongly placed here. They cannot hope to slip by us. They may not wish to. There are thousands, and we will be 300 when the half-hand reaches us. Sir Malador accepted a cup from Jon. If it comes to battle, we cannot hope for better ground than here, declared Mormont. We'll strengthen the defenses. Pits and spikes, caltrops scattered on the slopes, every breach mended. Jarman, I want your sharpest eyes as watchers, a ring of them all around us and along the river, to warn of any approach. Hide them up in trees. So we talked previously about how Renly had outrun his supplies and how Stannis may have dug traps. And this section of 300 preparing for 100,000 may refer to that. In addition, it's definitely referring to the legend of the 300 Spartans.
Yeah.
We know where the wildlings are massing, Mormont came back. We had it from Craster. I mislike the man, but I do not think he lied to us in this. Mormont doesn't like Craster, and Craster doesn't like Mance, but Mance doesn't kill Craster, and I don't know why. Right? Because Greenhand has speculated as that they say it doesn't make much sense. Like why doesn't Mance just kill this guy if he's helping the Night's Watch and he knows it and so forth, right?
Right.
Now the answer might be that he believes that Craster's sacrifices are delaying the or somewhat pacifying the others and delaying their attack and giving him enough time to potentially get his people safe, right? So I do think that he may have good logic there.
Yeah.
The others finished their wine and followed more courteously. George loves reminding us.
I forgot to look up how many times that word's in here. I will try to remember at the end of this video.
Then it'd be nice if we could kind of find some sort of analysis of. You can definitely find some analysis of old literature and collections. I remember I had a dictionary that specifically did that, where in the front of the dictionary it went into great depth about looking through collections of literature and saying what words were common and what words were uncommon, and that was kind of part of how you determined whether or not it should be in the dictionary. And so there's definitely some analysis out there as to frequency of words in general and so forth. And so it'd be interesting to try and gather how does that compare to other books.
I see what you did there.
Yeah. Shall I bring your supper, my lord? Jon asked. Corn, the raven cried. Mormont did not answer at once. When he did, he said only, Did your wolf find game today? He's not back yet. We could do with fresh meat. Mormont dug into his sack and offered his raven a handful of corn. You think I'm wrong to keep the rangers close? That's not for me to say, my lord. It is if you're asked. If the rangers must stay in sight of the fist, I don't see how they can hope to find my uncle, Jon admitted. They can't. The raven pecked at the kernels in the old bear's palm. 200 men or 10,000. The country is too vast. Corn gone, Mormont turned his hand over. You would not give up the search? Maester Aemon thinks you clever. Mormont moved the raven to his shoulder. The bird tilted its head to one side, little eyes a-glitter. The answer was there. It seems to me that it might be easier for one man to find 200 than for 200 to find one. The raven gave a cackling scream, but the old bear smiled through the gray of his beard. This many men and horses leave a trail even Aemon could follow. On this hill, our fires ought to be visible as far off as the foothills of the Frostfangs. If Fensark is alive and free, he will come to us. I have no doubt. Yes, said Jon, but what if he's dead? Mormont asked, not unkindly. John nodded reluctantly. Dead, the raven said. Dead, dead. He may come to us anyway, the old bear said, as Oathward did in Jafer Flowers. I dread that as much as you, John, but we must admit the possibility. Dead, his raven cawed, ruffling its wings. Its voice grew louder and more shrill. Dead! So this does seem to imply he's dead or undead. And I get that Uncle Ben is a Spider-Man reference, but given all the Richard III references and the inheritance disputes, I always thought he might try to claim Winterfell.
Well, the dead here is me thinking that the Raven is warning about the undead that's coming, less than referring to Uncle. I think Benjamin's going to make an appearance. I mean, I don't think he's dead.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think he's not Dario Naharis, but that's just me.
There's definitely people that claim that if you name somebody Uncle Ben, then they have to be dead. But it's not a terrible argument. Darwin was holding forth, spoon in hand. I know this wood as well as any man alive, and I tell you, I wouldn't care to ride through it alone tonight. Can't you smell it? Gren was staring at him with wide eyes, but Dolores Ed said, all I smell is the shit of 200 horses and this stew, which has a similar aroma now that I come to sniff it. I've got your similar aroma right here. Hack or Hake, I don't know.
Hake.
Patted his dirt. I guess we'll go with Hake, that it's like Jake. Anyway. Grumbling, he filled John's bowl from the kettle. The stew was thick with barley, carrot, and onion, with here and there a ragged shred of salt beef softened in the cooking. What is it you smell, Darwin? Asked Gren. The forester sucked on his spoon a moment. He'd taken out his teeth. His face was leathery and wrinkled, his hands gnarled as old roots. Seems to me like it smells, well, cold. Your head's as wooden as your teeth, Hake told him. There's no smell to cold. There is, thought John, remembering the night in the Lord Commander's chambers. It smells like death. Trust Darwin's nose. Like the symbolism. The Raven said dead 3 times, and George always puts important things in threes.
Yes.
Love Ed.
Yeah, Charles, I'd pointed that out before, that the Raven has a particular set of speech patterns. Like in Dead, he'll say dead, and then he'll say the Raven said, or something in between, and then it'll be dead, dead, dead. He does the same pattern all the time.
The night was moonless, but 1,000 stars shone overhead. A sound rose out of the darkness, faint and distant, but unmistakable, the howling of wolves. Their voices rose and fell, a chilly song and lonely. It made the hairs rise along the back of his neck. Across the fire, a pair of red eyes regarded him from the shadows. The light of the flames made them glow. Ghost, John breathed, surprised. So you came inside after all, eh? The White Wolf often hunted all night. He had not expected to see him again till daybreak. Was the hunting so bad? He asked. Here, to me, Ghost. The Daiwa circled the fire, sniffing John, sniffing the wind, never still. It did not seem as if he were after meal right now. When the dead came walking, Ghost knew. He woke me, warned me. Alarmed, he got to his feet. Is something out there? Ghost, do you have a scent? Darwin said he smelled cold. The Daiwa loped off, stopped, looked back. He wants me to follow. So he wants me to follow is italicized like a quote, and we discussed thoughts in italics in book club, and it could be divine quantum leap style intervention. I don't know.
Yeah. Check out what Lizzie said.
The Raven has a particular set of skills. We're coming off the ladder to say it. Lizzie, back up the ladder. A voice called out a challenge. John stepped into the torchlight. I need to fetch water for the Lord Commander. Go on, then, the guard said. Be quick about it. Huddled beneath his black cloak, with his hood drawn up against the wind, the man never even looked to see if he had a bucket. Well, it was an effective lie.
Yeah.
A torch had been thrust down into a crevice. Back up.
Hey, Jeff.
Yeah, he's referring to Lizzie.
Yeah.
A torch had been thrust down into a crevice, its flames flying pale orange banners when the gusts came. He snatched it up as he squeezed through the gap between the stones. Ghost went racing down the hill. John followed more slowly, the torch thrust out before him as he made his descent. The camp sounds faded behind him. The night was black, the slopes steep, stony, and uneven. A moment's inattention would be a sure way to break an ankle or his neck. What am I doing? He asked himself as he picked his way down. So we just mentioned italics, and the broken neck discussion reminds me of the blackfish and a quote I stole from Triplet Targaryens. What madness is this?
All right, I got fingers on that one.
All right, definitely. The tree stood beneath him. Warriors, and earlier I did say trust the symbols, and Melissa would probably count that one.
Yeah, I don't count that one. Hey, one thing, this is just minuscule. When they're using lanterns or torches or anything like that at night, you don't put the torch in front of you because at night blinds you. You hold it to the side or slide it to the back to where it still shines in front of you, but you still have your night vision.
That makes sense. Like if you try and use your flashlight on your phone and you leave the screen on, it's not very effective. If you turn the screen off and turn the flashlight on, it's very effective. Right?
It's nitpicky. I mean, it has nothing to do with anything. It's knowledge up here that had to come out.
That's a good point. The tree stood beneath him, warriors armed in bark and leaf, deployed in their silent ranks, awaiting the command to storm the hill. Black, they seemed. It was only when his torchlight brushed against them that Jon glimpsed a flash of green. So the trees as warriors hints at weirwood magic creating the others. But given the black, this could hint at LML's green zombie Night's Watch theory, right? That it's kind of implying that the Night's Watch are the warriors of the trees.
Yeah.
So, anyway. Branches clutched at his cloak, while overhead thick limbs twined together and shut out the stars. So this definitely hints at weirwood's fighting and causing the long night.
Yeah.
Ghost, he called, to me, now. When the direwolf raised his head, his eyes glowed red and baleful, and water streamed down from his jaws like slaver. There was something fierce and terrible about him in that instant, and then he was off, bounding past Jon, racing through the trees. Ghost, no, stay, he shouted, but the wolf paid no heed. The lean white shape was swallowed by the dark, and Jon had only two choices, to climb the hill again alone or to follow. He followed, angry, holding the torch out low so he could see the rocks that threatened to trip him with every step. The thick roots that seemed to grab at his feet, the holes where a man could twist an ankle. Every few feet he called again for Ghost, but the night wind was swirling amongst the trees and it drank the words. This is madness, he thought, as he plunged deeper into the trees. So he really is tying this to the Blackfish in Catelyn's 6th chapter. He even mentioned that the night is moonless. So I'm going to go ahead and read the whole quote.
Okay.
What madness is this? He said bluntly. Brynden Tully had never been a man to blunt the edge of his words. A night ascent with the moon not even full? Even Lysa should know that's an invitation to a broken neck. So why that would be tied to this, I don't know. I thought it was only significant to me, but apparently it's significant here. Right? There's too many things that are directly tying those, it seems to me. But
right.
Maybe it's mostly because I value that quote.
Well, I mean, when you say what madness is this, does that count as 4 for Triplet Targaryen?
I'm sure it does. I'm sure it does.
Okay. I want to make sure I get that out there so Lizzie don't have to come down the ladder.
Yeah. The direwolf was digging furiously, kicking up dirt. What have you found? Jon lowered the torch, revealing a rounded mound of soft earth. A grave, he thought, but whose? He knelt, jammed the torch into the ground beside him. The soil was loose, sandy. Jon pulled it out by the fistful. There were no stones, no roots. Whatever was here had been put here recently. He saw a dozen knives, leaf-shaped spearheads, numerous arrowheads. Jon picked up a dagger blade, feather light and shiny black, hiltless. Torchlight ran along its edge, a thin orange line that spoke of razor sharpness. Dragonglass, what the maesters call obsidian. Had Ghost uncovered some ancient cache of the children of the forest, buried here for thousands of years? The fist of the firstman was an old place, only you just told us there were no roots and this was put here recently.
Yeah, well, he's 15 weeks, but
Yeah. Our characters are often wrong. Beneath the dragonglass was an old war horn made from an Eric's horn and banded in bronze. Jon shook the dirt from inside it, and a stream of arrowheads fell out. He let them fall and pulled up a corner of the cloth the weapons had been wrapped in, rubbing it between his fingers. Good wool, thick, a double weave, damp but not rotted. It could not have been long in the ground, and it was dark. He seized a handful and pulled it close to the torch. Not dark, black. Even before Jon stood and shook it out, he knew what he had: the black cloak of a sworn brother of the Night's Watch. So I think Cold Hands put this here, but this cloak has to at least symbolically represent Benjen. So maybe it was Benjen instead of Cold Hands. We know
Yeah.
Cold Hands still has his cloak, so anyway, it's all just speculation. But I kind of like the it's probably Benjen's cloak.
Yeah,
Because
with it
otherwise this
being
would be
good
much less.
quality, chances are Benjen has the
Right.
better clothes at the watch.
Right.
Not King's Landing. I mean, granted, he dressed up to the nines or whatever it's called when he came down to see the king in his clothes. But I'm assuming that his standard clothes at the watch are still better than damn near everybody else that's there, because he has family money behind him to make sure he's properly supplied. So I lean toward Benjen on the cachet of
At least
Dragon.
on at least on whose cloak it is, right?
Right,
I
right.
mean, no, he could have left his cloak and deserted or something, right? That's certainly possible.
I mean, Cold Hands. I mean, if he had Benjen's cloak, if Benjen is doing something with Bloodraven and that's why he's gone, then I mean that would be a reason Cold Hands would have his cloak. But
right.
I mean, I mean it can go either way. I'm leaning toward Benjen, but
I kind of lean towards Cold Hands, but I feel like the cloak almost has to be Benjen's.
Yeah, we don't always agree.
Yeah,
that's the best. That's one of my favorite parts.
I'm not sold on either. I'm not totally sold on either of them. I'm just saying, you know.
Anywhere from 80 to 90% of the theories that are out there that me and you agree on, and there's that 20 to 15 or whatever that we tend to vary, which makes the conversation even better when we don't agree on something, because then we get to listen to different points of view.
Well, and we're both a little more open to alternative interpretations than most people.
Yeah. I'm extremely open. I mean, there's only one hill I'm going to die on, and that's Lord Wilmdustin. The rest of it is all debatable.
Well, I guess I've somewhat moved closer to you on that issue, given that I'm kind of moving away from him as the White Bull.
Yeah.
Up next,
that's my claim to fame, man.
Up next, Brand 5. Jojen sees Bran and Rickon in the crypts, and the green dreams don't lie.
Mm-hmm. Even though we're not there yet, the fact that this is when oh crap, are they in the crypts for the
that's one area it doesn't vary. We don't vary with Dorcas.
There you go. Oh, look at that. That is sheer love right there. Now, I saw dogs at the con. You ever thought about bringing the dogs with you?
Yeah, we considered it.
I want to say they're probably in the cabins that had the dogs.
They kind of like where I board them, though. They kind of, well, at least the Aussies do. The 13-year-old Golden is not quite as enthusiastic, but we get to the pet resort, they like run to the door like angry to go in.
I'm hoping in 2 years that Lizzie brings Baggins. There you go, Jeff. Yep. I mean,
yes, our opinion doesn't vary on Dorcas. It doesn't vary on Dorcas, or it does. It's Varys' Dorcas.
Yeah. Almost started a petition to make Lizzie bring Baggins.
Oh, I was thinking about that. The best evidence of that, I think, is that there is no way that Merryweather would be befriending Dorcas, or to the point where Merryweather would know that Dorcas had a crush on Sanji. Check in from work.
Hey, Sanji.
Thanks, Sanji.
Have a good day at work.
There is no way that Lady Merryweather is going to befriend Dorcas without Cersei present and know that Dorcas has a crush on one of the Kettle Blacks. Like that is totally just a cover story for her boss, right? She's totally just covering for her boss. it's like the probability of that is like so close to zero versus the probability that Dorcas is Varys is so high that it's like it's not even close.
Yeah. I mean, the number of people in this story that are pretending to be something or someone that they're not keeps increasing as the story goes along. So, yeah. Because you got, what is it, Toodles with the Howland Reed and the Quiet Brother and the Hound.
And Blue Lemons does basically the same thing, except that Blue Lemons doesn't buy that the Kingsguard are alive, which we very much do, right?
Yeah, it is what it is.
But
like I said, they all can't agree.
I love that. Well, but she still comes to the same conclusion, which is that Howland Reed would be trying to get to Arya and Sansa the whole time, and has been trying the whole time, right? Thought that the best way to do that was to fight with Stannis, right?
Right.
What else?
Now, was he on Stannis' side, or was he on?
I don't think he's lying about that. I think he really was. I think he really did join Stannis' side to try and
get the King's Landing
to the castle. Yeah.
Right. Well, he would have to be on Stannis' side, because if he was on the Lannister Tyrell side, he would have had access to King's Landing. So yeah, you're right. It would be Stannis' side. So that failed.
And anytime George gives you a statement where he breaks it up like that, where the beginning of the statement would mean something different than the full statement, which in this case is he's looking for Sansa for love, right? He says, I'm looking for Sansa for love. So he's telling you he really is looking for Sansa for love, right?
Right.
And so he would know glamour. They have rubies. I don't think I just sell anybody on the idea that the Hound is alive and with the elder brother.
Yeah.
If you haven't figured out that the elder brother is a magic healer and that he knows way more than he could have learned from the Hound and talking to him for a few minutes.
Yeah. I know. I don't
know what to tell you.
I don't read the sample chapters from Winds of Winter, but I did read the one with the Lane. And the Hound glamored as Brian the Beauty or whatever it is.
Yeah.
He's sparring with Corbray and losing. I'm assuming his leg is still not fully healed or causing him some difficulty in fighting. But it's funny because you get he kisses Sansa's on the hand, I think, when they leave. And then now you have another scene with Sansa, and the Hound is there in the background. One
of the things what is this great about that chapter is that if the elder brother, the elder brother is definitely Morgoth the Merry, whatever his name is, right? The other head knight, and and that one's like I said, You can read either Blue Lemon's take on that or Toodles, but they're
I like Toodles better.
It's pretty rock solid. It's pretty rock solid. But anyway, so if he's in fact the Lewin Martell, right? Prince Lewin Martell,
right?
Then literally Sansa is told you can you can ask. He would send people to ask themselves by or by killing them and having them dance with him or something. I don't know. He makes some comment like that, and then if you watch, she does dance with him. She asks the question of Peter. He tells her, if you ask him, he'll send you to Prince Lewin of Martello himself. People who point out that he was already injured. He sends to Senge to talk to Prince Lewin Martell himself, and then she dances with Lewin Martell. Anyway,
all right. Well, we're right there at that 40-minute. We're up to 7 people today. I mean, I definitely appreciate everybody. Sanji, I appreciate you checking in from work. I know it's hard. I know James Martin is working his ass off. So I appreciate him popping in every now and then too. Lizzie,
Right.
Lady
The Valen
Thistle,
Card can't
Jeff,
normally join us either,
yeah,
right? Valen
the
Card
Valen
can.
card. I want to apologize to the Valen card. For some reason, my phone and my tablet do not alert me when we get when I get or when the video gets a response. And before, that's what I was using to
Yeah.
respond to the response, the response to the
Right.
comment.
So now you have to actually go back to
Yeah,
the videos
as
if you
far
ever
as I
want to
can
see the
tell,
comments.
I'm like 4 or 5 comments
Yeah.
behind. So
Yeah,
the
that's annoying.
Valentine, I do apologize. I will get in there and
Now, do you get an email? Do you get an email on those?
no, I don't get anything.
Huh.
Usually, I get an alert like somebody like with Discord. Anytime somebody puts something on Discord, it pops up on the phone and the tablet. I used to get an alert like that would have
Right.
the YouTube symbol at the beginning of it, and then it would
Yeah, I better
say
go
the
back
comment.
and check Triple Targaryens again because it might not be telling me when people comment either.
Yeah. So I do apologize,
Thanks, Charles.
but
Thanks, Charles. Certainly,
Charles is the bomb, man. I ain't lying. Our pack, he's our pack leader without a doubt.
well,
He's the life of the party, and the party goes the direction that he says.
yeah. I tried to argue for Nettles, and Nettles would have none of it. She's like, nope.
Well, if Charles is the leader, Lizzie is the enforcer, and Lady Thistle is the heart. So,
Sounds
all right,
good.
guys, y'all, we appreciate it. Friday, same bat time, same bat channel, brand 5. We appreciate it. What?
They told me in book club that I'm Yoda, so I don't know if that's an age joke or if unfortunately it was Pod, so it probably wasn't an age dig.
Pod likes to reference a lot of stuff that we grew up with, so being of a similar age.
Yeah.
Yeah, Yoda. Well, I mean, you're extremely intelligible, so intelligent.
Thank you.
But all right, we'll see y'all. Hey, Jeff. Friday. You ain't lying.
Sounds good.
All right, we'll see y'all then. Y'all take care. Bye, Richard.
You too.